10th, and it is a fortunate thing for me that we just so happen to be going through the Passion account from Mark's Gospel in our New Testament readings, so it's a really good preparation for me for getting ready for the rest of Lent and especially Holy Week, as it is a good chance to look at the suffering and death of Jesus. So, as we look at the Gospel of Mark, we're going to look at a number of different things. Real quickly, the first is that Jesus is on trial, of course, and Peter follows from afar. Interesting to see the words that are used by Mark in his Gospel. So, Peter is getting warm in the courtyard by the fire. He's literally, Mark says, facing the light. So Peter follows from afar, but he's still following. And when it says that he was facing the light, perhaps we can understand that unlike Judas, who goes out to hand Jesus over when it was night, Peter is still facing the light, whether that light is a metaphor for the things of God as opposed to the things of darkness, or light that is a metaphor for the light of the world, namely Jesus himself. So, the second thing is that Jesus is falsely accused of saying that he would destroy the earthly temple and build another one in 3 days. Of course, as the gospel writers tell us, Jesus was referring to the temple of his own body. So, Jesus is not accused of breaking the law of Moses here, because that wouldn't really matter to the Roman prefect who is serving as the viceroy in this trial against Jesus. What the Romans were concerned about, what they did not like at all, was transgressions against temples or other religious objects. So that is what got their attention when this accusation could be brought forward regarding Jesus. Notice, though, that even this accusation includes the rebuilding of the temple. It's important in Mark's Gospel to see the presence of triumph after the crucifixion of Jesus. The next thing is that the high priest asks Jesus, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed?" And this question dovetails really nicely with Jesus's unspoken earlier but clear assertion in his discussion of whose son the Christ is, that he, Jesus, is Yahweh's son, the Lord's son, not only David's son. It isn't obvious right away, but in that particular discussion in chapter 12, Jesus actually hands his opponents the weapons that they use to bring about his own demise. Why did Jesus do such a thing? Here is the answer. God alone must act in all aspects of salvation, which includes even enabling his enemies to do the evil deeds that they must do in order that he, God, in the person of his Son, Jesus, may bear the sins of the world. And the next thing, in his response to the high priest's clear question of who exactly this Christ is Jesus the Christ, the Son of the Blessed? Jesus now gives a clear answer saying, "I am." This confession on Jesus' part gets him in hot water. It actually brings about his death. He is sentenced as a deceiver and impostor, and his accusers cannot say that he has explicitly used or even misused the divine name. They must simply assert that Jesus has spoken outrageous things that defame God. How ironic, because Jesus' accusers are doing exactly that. Everything that Jesus said is absolutely true. And here's the final thing. When Jesus says, "You will see that the Son of Man is going to come," this, as in chapter 13, involves not only Jesus' final coming, but also when Jesus is placed on the cross, when the sky becomes dark and the temple curtain is ripped. In other words, the leaders will indeed witness the coming of the Son of Man in his glory very soon, when Jesus is crucified, and this in itself is a foretaste of and a promise of the consummation at the end of the ages, which is yet to come. So, as we look at this section of Jesus' passion in Mark's Gospel and dig deep, there are many things that are certainly worthy of our attention. Well, thank you for being with me, and we will see you again tomorrow.